Evening, gang. Welcome to another Wednesday night. It's Wednesday, the 17th of August 2022. Hope you're well on this Wednesday evening. Just had a load of rain, actually. This is the first rain in months we've had here in Royal Berkshire. Literally months. I was in bed, and I think it was around about 4:30, 5 o'clock. I suddenly heard like all this rain coming down. I've got two windows in my bedroom, which is really nice. I had the one put in on the side wall some years ago. I used to only have one right there, sort of, and another one. A wall here, and I had two new windows put in. Oh, got to be about 5 or 6 years ago now. Made such a difference. Anyway, so I've got those two open, and the one at the back's all right. If it rains, you can just hear the rain, and that's fine. But the one on the side, if it rains, it comes in. You know, and I thought, I just opened my nose. Oh, I can hear the rain. It's probably all right. And I thought, no, I better check the window. And I pulled back the curtain a little bit after my afternoon siesta, and it was soaking wet on there. So I wanted a wee anyway. So I went out and had a wee and come back and brought a towel with me and just put it on the top there and closed the window and went back to sleep again. But at last, have you had rain where you are? I think I heard a slight bit of thunder, but. Apart from that, I didn't really hear much to talk about. I do know it was pouring down. I could hear it. In fact, where one of the air conditioning fans is, underneath one of the guttering at the roof there, I know that there's a little bit of gutter broken there. And I thought, what's that? No, drip, drip, drip. And of course, it's coming over the gutter because the water was so heavy. But it's nice to have that fixed at last anyway. If you'd like to join in this evening, you can do so. Send us a message if you want to on my text number up there, 07451 287 337. I think I've got my text thing open, have I? There we go. 07451 287 337 is my text number. Or you could use the reach on air. Use the chat box that we've got going there. All right, I'll be in and out of there. Sometimes I miss the comments in there, so if I do, don't get all upset and arsey. All right, because I will give it back. If you start moaning, I will give it back, as you well know. Okay, I will give it back. But you can leave a message in there as well if you want to. But to get a direct message from me, please use the text. That's only for people in the UK. 07451 287 337 is my text number. Let's say hello to some of you texting in already today. Paul in Ashford. Good evening to you, Paul. All right, on this Wednesday night. Here we are, halfway through August. You know, Wednesday night. Paul's there. Evening, Chris, from a wonderful, cooling Ashford in Kent. Oh, it's certainly cool here. It's very cool here. Actually, when you say it's certainly cool. You don't need the heating on, but. I literally this evening, when about 7:30, I was mucking around on my phone, and I have Hive here. You know what, you control your heating on the phone. A lot of people have got that now. And I thought, do you know what? I think I'll run that heating just for 10 minutes. You know, to keep things going, because I haven't run it for months. I mean, I turned it off in April. I think I've run it once for about 10 minutes since then. And I think it's important to just now and again just let it all run over. Otherwise it all gets stuck, doesn't it? All starts seizing up. So I just ran that for 10 minutes a little while ago there, Paul. Anyway, I'm glad it's cooled down for you. It certainly has here. It's been quite a pleasant temperature today, certainly. Evening to Stephen Dagenham. Good evening to you, Steve, all right? Looking forward to another great show. Well, it might not be a great show. You never know. Might not be a great show, you see. You never know. Might be a crap show. There's always plenty of people telling you when you've had a crap show, innit? Sitting there looking for errors and things like that. The clock is 5 seconds fast. Do you know, I see those comments and I think, dickhead. That's what I think when I see... Thank you, Steve. Evening to Vera from Vera's Choice in the morning. Reach on air. Good evening, Vera. Hello, sweetheart. All right. Richard Morris is there. Good evening, Richard Morris. My very, very good Jewish mother friend, Richard Morris, is in the house. Check him out. Evening, Richard, who said, yes, dear, we've had heavy downpours this afternoon too. Not money out of your account, I hope, Richard. I hope there's nothing been pouring out of your account, my love. I should be very disappointed if I am ever able to check your account and see if any money at all has been withdrawn. That's not what bank accounts are for. They're not for taking money out, dear. In. That's it. Don't take any money out. I have had to take money out. I've had to go into my savings. More about that later on, boys and girls. More about that later on. Anyway, thankfully, Richard says, I didn't need to water the garden today. Oh my God, water the garden? Have you gone mad, dear? I can hear that water meter going around from here. Oh, hang on a minute. No, it's mine again. Oh, don't even start me on water problems, Richard. I'll come to that in a minute, okay? Thank you very much. Good evening to Stephen Petty. Hello, Stephen, up in Lincoln there. Long time no here. And Stephen says, good evening, Chris. Hope you're well. I'm delivering 26 pallets of lovely creamy puff pastries at a chilly minus 25 degrees in Peterborough, then heading back home to Lincoln. So safe journey there in your large articulated lorry or whatever you're joining there. Hello to John Parrish. Evening to you. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Never mind, here we all are for you. I wish I was a bridesmaid. I wasn't a bridesmaid at that wedding. Wasn't a bridesmaid. More of that a little bit later on. Thank you, John. An evening to Gary Ross. Tickets, please. ×2. How are you? No tickets. The only tickets here are these ones, Gary Ross. Here's a clue. Dancing Queen, young and sweet, only 17. Here are my train tickets. Yes, to Stratford in London for next Thursday. Not tomorrow, next Thursday. When I think it's Thursday, isn't it? Hang on a minute. Yeah, it's Thursday. Thursday, when me and my sister and brother-in-law are going to see the Abba show in Stratford. So very much looking forward to that. I discovered Abba have built their own arena for this show. Of course, Abba are not actually there. This is something that sounds like they're holograms, except they're not holograms. They're better. They're better than holograms. That's the Abba arena near Stratford. But they do have a Docklands Light Railway thing there. Pudding Mill Lane, I think, is the very closest station to this place, which is literally, I looked at the map, it's literally across the road. Get off the station, cross the road, Abba Arena there. So that's where we're going next Thursday. I'm very, very much looking forward to that, I must say. And they've been going for quite some time now, months. And people put their comments on Facebook and stuff like that. I have not seen one single negative comment. Not one. Unlike this show, you know. The letters of complaint pour in here, I'm telling you that now. No, I have not seen one single negative, not one. Not in the newspapers or on the Facebook or anything else or on the TikTok. No negative comments whatsoever for that Abba show. So I know my sister is very much looking forward to that because it was her birthday yesterday. She was 57 yesterday. I can't believe it. I sent this card from moonpig.com. I don't think I've ever used them before. And I remembered that on my birthday, she does the same thing. I think they use Moonpig. I think maybe my nephew uses Moonpig as well, and a card comes. I sent a card on Saturday. It came today, you know, the day after. The day after. It's not very good, is it? But they got strikes and that going on at the post office as well. Oh, dear. Foolish people. You know, because less and less people are using the blooming postal service now, aren't they? Who sends a letter now? No one, really. Do you remember the excitement you got from receiving a letter from someone? In particular at Christmas, my mum used to write stacks, and my sister would tell you, stacks and stacks of Christmas cards. She'd start in like September, October, writing this great big thing of Christmas cards and then posting them at vast expense. Now, couldn't afford to do it now, could you? What is it, £1 a letter or something like that? God, blimey. Anyway, yes, so we're very much looking forward to that, Gary. So they're my tickets, but none for you. No tickets for you. No tickets. Do you want to see the tickets? Here we are. Here we are, the Abba Arena. There we are. Abba Arena, and we print off the tickets, you see. And they're like a little code thing like that. Good, aren't they? And we have the dance floor area. So we will be standing there, hopefully quite close to the stage or however it is. But the people I know who have gone and seen it, it says it doesn't matter where you are in there, you can see the stage. That's how it was built, you see. It's all right, isn't it? Abba got so much money, they bought some land and built their own venue. Perhaps I could do the same for this programme, you know. We could be coming live one day from the Royal Albert Hall, perhaps, you know. Maybe a little segment before last night of the proms. BBC could I just, because that start, what time does that start, last night of the proms? Is it 7:30? You know, perhaps they'll let me, do you mind, could I have the stage for sort of half an hour at 6:30? Would you mind, you know? Might work, mightn't it? These are my Scotland tickets for British Airways to go to Scotland and see my niece. We got Disney, Euro Disney coming up. It's all happening, dear, here. All happening here. Thank you very much. Let's pop into the chat box and have a quick look in there. It's PJ Macca. Paul McIlroy is in the house. Have you got any Abba? Yeah, have you got any Abba, mate? Sorry, mate, if you put Abba on, they're all dance to that. Yeah, my mate's a DJ. And if you put this song on, I guarantee you they're all dance to. You put some Abba on, don't they? Do you get that, Paul McIlroy? He is a DJ on, not pirate radio. There's no pirate radio stations now, really, is there? They're all sort of legal online and that sort of thing, aren't they? Anyway, good evening to PJ Macca. And lovely. I'm still waiting for you to send me that picture of yourself that Gary requested the other day, Paul. You and the other Paul. Is it another Paul or someone else that you're playing there on the on internet games? What's that called? That thing? Sony PlayStation 2 or whatever it is, Nintendo. I don't know what you do. It's all a mystery to me, all those games. They're sitting there wasting your lives. Pew, 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 always behind you. And they talk to each other, don't they, on these computer games? They've got a little headset on. You know, they're talking to each other. Oh, it's behind you, Paul, behind you. Hopefully, Paul, you're behind me one day. Thank you very much. You've sent it via Moonpig. Thanks very much, Paul. Must be stuck in the post then, mate. Don't tell your mother. Oh, shit, come round here. Oh, yeah! Shit, don't tell your mum. It's our little secret, as a teacher once said to me. Thank you very much. Dan Woodhouse is there. Evening to Dan Woodhouse. Scrolling up there. Peter Wright's in the house as well. And there's Derek Martin. Good evening to Derek. Derek's always there for the radio show in the morning, aren't you, Derek? So a very good morning to you. Right, what have we got today then? I don't know where to start, really. I know at the top of the list it says funeral disaster. So I've got to tell you this little story here. Someone I know who's in the sort of funeral business. That's all. I'm not going to do names or anything here because it could go all over the place. But I was asking this person who's involved in funerals, have you ever had a disaster at funerals? And he's like, oh yes, absolutely. I said, what's the worst one you can remember? He said, yes, I remember being at a certain cemetery, and I said, oh, I know that one. Right. Okay. And I was doing this funeral of this particular person, and I said, what'd you say the name was? Right, okay. I said, did he have a brother called something else? And he said, yeah, that's right. Why? Did you know him? I said, I didn't know the one who died. I knew the brother. He said, really? I said, yes. He said, oh my God. He said, that's a surprise. Well, the pair of them were in and out of a prison. These two people. I said, well, kind of that makes sense. Because the person I knew was a bit of a bully in primary school, right? It was someone in my primary school who then followed me to secondary school. But in secondary school, we were in different places. So apart from the odd hello, that was it. But he was a bit of a bully. So the whole in and out of prison thing, I do get that. Okay? Anyway, what had happened is that this bloke had been in prison, the other one, who I didn't really know. He'd done his time and been particularly well behaved, so he didn't have to do any more. Unlike the other one, who was in and out of like is it the punishment block or something like that? He was for violence. Yeah, he was always in and out the punishment block for violence. That would have been the person I knew. Who I knew, right? I wouldn't say he was like a close friend or anything. I would say hello to him, but that's about all it was. Anyway, I haven't seen him for, oh my God, 30 years or so. And he came out of prison, and on the day he came out, they'd thrown a big party and all this. And so he had the party. And he was doing some sort of naughty stuff, you know, up his nose. That's a lot of people do that now. I must say, and I'm completely honest with you here, I've never done anything like that particular thing. I did in the 90s. I went to the raves and I had the little sweeties, you know, like everyone else did. But I never really progressed to anything else. And I had no inkling to do that. It just didn't interest me. I was kind of happy, you know, on my a bit like mints they were. But they weren't mints, okay? So that was right the way through the 90s. And I never ever did anything. And then I stopped. And then that was it. That was it. Some of these people, they go on to all sorts of nasty stuff. And the old Colombian marching powder, apparently he did this at his party. And then drove home, crashed into a tree and died. Terrible, really, when you think about it. And it's no use. People out there, some people would say, oh, it serves him right. No, I don't wish that on anyone. You know, to have been in prison for whatever he did, because I don't know. I don't know what he was in there for. I don't know what he was in prison for. But to be in prison and do all your time and all that, and then come out, have a little bit of a party, and then muck up like that and die is just terrible, isn't it, really? Anyway, so that's what happened. At the funeral, apparently it was extremely wet on this day. Okay. I mean, literally, it was so, this person was telling me, it was so bad, the water was coming down from the skies, torrential rain, and literally bouncing off the floors. That's how bad it was. Anyway, so the undertakers are around the coffin, and if you've been to a funeral, you'll know they're like on ropes. You know, it's kind of in position, and it's like on ropes, right? And there's, I think, 4 people around, two at each end. So person holding a rope there, one there, one there, one there, and they're like holding the coffin. And it was so wet and so slippery everywhere that they started lowering the coffin. Okay. And literally the ropes slid through their hands and they had no control. This coffin went down into the hole, smashed open. The poor person's body dropped out the bottom, ended up with his head in the mud. And not only that, you would, well, at least the coffin's gone down. No, it got wedged at an angle. And it took them about 45 minutes to sort it out. Meantime, the brother of the deceased, this is someone I know, went running up to the undertakers and saying, you effing C's, at which point the person I knew stood in between them and said, look, it's an accident. And apparently he was going, ready to hit someone. And that's basically the story. You know, I mean, can you just imagine? I mean, apart from the deceased ending up like that, the anguish and upset that would cause to people around there. But like this person said, it was a complete accident, and you couldn't expect something like that to happen. Really, I mean, undertakers will be completely used to this sort of weather, I'm sure. It must have been particularly bad and slippery on this day for something terrible like that to happen. Anyway, that's my bad funeral story, really. I don't know if you've got one at all. If not, if you have, why not tell me about it? Send us a text there, 07451 287 337. It's my text number. You know, and this person, when we got to the subject of cremations and things like that, and I'm really not a fan of cremations at all. Quite apart from the oven thing, I find them extremely impersonal, in and out as quickly as possible, like a blooming conveyor belt in Asda, to be honest. And next, and it's a little bit like that. And this person was saying, when you think about it, a cremation is a very violent way to go, isn't it? You know? You don't just get placed somewhere. You get shoved in this thing and the oven goes full up. And all this gas and flames. Oh, no, dear. On the other hand, people don't like to go in holes, do they? You know, you want to be put in a hole. I'd quite like to be put on a shelf. You know, like a mausoleum or something like that, where they stack them up, don't they? It's like got like shelves up there. I could just place me on a shelf somewhere. I'd be up. Oh, I've got shelves in here. Perhaps I could put one up. I wonder how long that would stay up for. Dear me. I'll get Gary to come and do it. Gary, is my nephew watching today? Can he come and put us a shelf up, please? If you don't mind. Thank you, Gary. Let's read some of your messages out. Good evening to Maureen. Evening to you, Maureen. Hello. Paul in Ashford said, look like you have lost more weight. Neck looking slimmer. Looking slim, looking up at you in your booth. No, not really. Not really. I weighed myself just after I come back from the Luxury Waterside Media Centre. I'd gone up a little bit. I don't know what it is at the moment. Might be due to my homemade cottage pie that I made last night. I'm going to make another one tonight, ready for dinner tomorrow. Richard, my very good friend Richard, on the subject of funerals, when my grandfather died back in the early 90s, they nearly buried a Mrs. Morris rather than a Mr. Morris. God, they realised just in time before the coffin was lowered. I bet there are mix-ups like that, Richard, especially with ashes. I can imagine it happening with ashes. You know, oh, I haven't put a label on that one. But you wouldn't know, would you? Wouldn't know. I know our very good... I remember drag queen Regina Fong, of course, Richard, as you know. I don't know if you went to his funeral. I was there for that one. That was quite nice. And he did this... He'd arranged it all himself. And at the end of the funeral, he went out. The coffin went through the curtains to a Disney song. And Wishing on a Star, was it? How does it go, that song? For wishing, I'm wishing, no. Or someday, oh, I can't remember. I think it was something, wishing on a star. When you wish upon a star. I always remember that. That's years ago now, isn't it? It's nearly 20 years ago. Or is it 20 years ago? Funeral of Regina Fong, eh? And then when they got the ashes, they went up the top of, I think it's Parliament Hill, sprinkled the ashes, and our very good friend Titla Camp was up there, another drag queen, and as the ashes went, she got a mouthful of them. Doesn't matter though, does it? That's quite nice. And to be going around with your friend later. Evening to Diane Jeb. Hello to Diane Jeb. Evening, Diane. Shania. I presume this is at a funeral, Shania. Setting the fire alarm off with the incense was quite embarrassing. I wouldn't have thought that set fire alarms off. Did you forget to turn it off or something? How does that work? Do you have to turn off the fire alarm when you're using incense at all, Shania, in the ferrible thing? Do you? As you shake that thing. I love the smell of that. Don't you love the smell of that? Incense in churches. Not many churches do it anymore. Our church doesn't really do it much. The one in Wokingham, they used to do it in the morning. Blimey, I put so much in once you couldn't see the altar. These things are sent to testers, aren't they, eh? Over in the chat box. People talking to... Can you not... Why is everyone talking to PJ Macker tonight? I know that. He's made a lot of friends on this programme, hasn't he? Let's have a look. MFI coffin, I bet, says John. I don't know what they're made of. I honestly don't know what those coffins are made of. I thought they were like quite high quality items. They bloody well should be for £2,000, shouldn't they, eh? Did I say hello to Peter Wright today? I think so. Gary Ross says speed freak. Well, yeah, earlier. That was the early 90s before I progressed to the other thing there. PJ says you really would enjoy prison, mate. Be like a proper Butlins holiday for you. Oh, no, I don't know about that, PJ. You know, what if they discovered I was gay? You know, all sorts of terrible things had happened to me. Thank you very much, PJ. John Parrish saw Abba live back in the 1970s. Oh, you lucky thing. Yeah, I saw a few things back. I also went to see Bruce Forsyth's Generation game at BBC Television Theatre. My dad took me there. That was good. I can't remember if my mum went or not, actually. I went. I don't know if my sister went. It was me and my dad. My dad took me to a couple of BBC shows, actually. Call My Bluff was another one there. That's Life. I think my mum come to that one. That's Life. Love Thy Neighbour. Do you remember that? You'd never get away with that anymore. They'd start screaming it was racist and all that. But if you remember Love Thy Neighbour, the pair of them were just insulting each other. The white bloke insulting the black bloke and the black bloke insulting the white bloke. It was just fun. It was just comedy. Now people are, can't say that, can't say. But they were giving it back just as good as each other. If you know the series, you'll know exactly what I mean. Thank you very much. All right. Shania, we can't turn off the fire alarms. It's just shutting doors and risking it. Oh, I didn't know that, Shania. Blimey. Actually, I was playing the organ on Sunday this week. Funnily enough, talking of funerals, Father Danny did ask me if I'd be interested in playing at funerals. But it's it's one thing playing at a mass where you kind of now I've been playing at the Mass now for about 8 months now. I do 1 week on, 1 week off with the other bloke John, and on the first Sunday of the month, there was a lady that played guitars. I write the rota for that. I do the rota, and I do it very fairly so that everyone gets the same opportunity there. And you know that, shouldn't I? We've discussed this, haven't we? Privately. So I do the rota. Father Danny was asking me about funerals. See, and like I say, if you're doing the same thing every week, people get to know you and all that, and they come and talk to you, which is quite nice. Now, if you're doing a funeral or a wedding, that's a different thing. Right? That is either the highlight of someone's life or the lowest point possibly of some people's lives. Certainly when my mother and father died, I would say that was the lowest points of my life. And you don't want to muck that up. Do you know what I mean? I'd be horrified if I destroyed someone's celebration like that. So I kind of, I don't know about that, Father. I'm not sure. And he's like, well, the money's good. I said, the money's pretty irrelevant to me, something like that, because it's to do with the church, I don't like, I say it's to do with the church. It's not really, because it's like your wedding in a church or their funeral in a church. It's not for the church, but still. And you kind of think to yourself, well, it's very expensive to have a wedding or a funeral. Very expensive, either of these things. As you well know, some of you have, I'm sure, had to sort out the money for a funeral, and those of you that have got married certainly recently will know the cost of such a thing. And I wouldn't want to add to that. I think, I said, perhaps not so much with a wedding, because he asked me about weddings as well some time ago, and I kind of said, I'm a bit busy on Saturdays. And I am, I like to be in bed on a Saturday at about 1:30, really, in the afternoon. I think most weddings are sort of somewhere between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m, aren't they, in churches? And it would bother me if I got it wrong. I mean, it would really upset me. And, of course, the people down there probably wouldn't even notice, to be honest, would they? I bet they wouldn't even notice. I found a YouTube video of terrible wedding organist somewhere. And it's really, he's completely playing all the wrong notes in the wrong keys. And oh my God. And the bride and the groom are kind of, and everyone's looking at each other thinking, how bad can this get? I don't know if that's actually real or someone's overdubbed some bad organ playing on it, But if I was to do a funeral, I think when it comes to how much do we pay you, I think I'd be inclined to say to them, just pay me what you can afford. Rather than set a price. I don't know what they charge. I have no idea what they charge at all. I'm imagining in somewhere near the £50 mark. Bearing in mind, my money in my head is kind of stuck a bit in the 80s and 90s. I'd be horrified to go out and spend 20 quid in a pub. I would be absolutely horrified. I mean, it might get £10 maybe. I'd be absolutely horrified to spend 20 quid in a pub. My mind is kind of stuck in the 80s. So when I do get a big bill, and I've had a couple of big bills that I'm going to tell you about tonight, I thought about this carefully today. I don't know if I want to tell you how much I spent or not, but I think I might. I still haven't decided in my head, but we'll come to that soon. Yeah, so I think I'd be inclined to say to them, well, just pay me what you can afford. Because there's lots of poor people out there, Loads of poor people. God knows how they're going to pay their electric and gas bills, yeah. Shocking state of affairs. And people go on about this, the government needs to give them more money. The thing is, with those bills, electric and gas, we've never, ever had to hand out money so that people can pay their gas and electric bills. That has never happened. There's always been people on benefits, okay, but that's a different thing. We have never had to go to everyone and say, there's £400 for your gas and electric bill. I don't know what the answer is. My inclination is to drag these electric and gas people into the office, into government offices and say, right, you can't charge any more than this. We all expect it to go up a little bit every year, don't we? You do. What you don't expect it is to be more than double. More than double. Look at your bill now and expect that monthly payment to double. That's what's going to happen. How are people going to do that? It's frightening. Absolutely frightening. I'll be okay. Don't get me wrong, I'll be okay. Because my bills are very low anyway. I had solar panels put up. I was saying to my mate today, you know those solar panels I put up on the roof? I think they've been up 15 years now. 15 years. They're slightly not as good as they were. I used to get about 2,400 watts. Now the maximum I get is about 2,150. So over a period of time, they get less efficient. They're guaranteed for 25 years, but they say we don't know how much longer they will go on after that. They're certainly guaranteed for 25 years, so that ain't bad, is it? I'm glad I had them done. My combined electric and gas bill per month is £65, but that will go up to 130. Easy when the prices go up. But going back to the funeral thing there, yeah, I would be inclined to go to people and say, how much do you charge? Just pay me what you can afford, and that's fine. You know, to me, it would be more of doing something to kind of help them along, if you see what I mean. Right. Anyway, that's it there. Dan says, "What, Chris, was your call my bluff with Arthur Marshall or Patrick Campbell? Patrick Campbell, the lad with the stammer, and Les Muir, is it? Mr. Muir, Patrick Muir, Les Muir, what's his name? Who had the moustache and the bow tie. Wonderful. Wonderful. So that's how long ago that was. And the thing is, Dan, they record 6 shows, right? But you don't know that when you go in. So the first show happens, and I'm sure you'd be the same as me. I'm not really watching the show, right? I'm watching the lights, the cameras, the people pushing around the cameras, little makeup person coming sort of, off camera, making small adjustments to their faces as they go along. So the first one finishes, and I thought, oh, that was good. Right, they're going to we get another one. Oh, fantastic. Right. So they go off, and they all change into another outfit, and they come on again, and they record the next one. Excuse me a moment. Can I blow my nose? You all right, Paul? Just using this old crusty tissue to blow my nose. Have you got any of those? I've been told some secrets about people when their missus goes out. I'll leave that one with your thoughts. Anyway, yes, so then the second one recorded. Oh, it's great. Right, they're just going to go off now and show. Oh, we get a third one. Oh, right, okay. At this point, you've seen all the cameras, you've seen all the lights, and I'm starting to get a bit bored now. What's blooming 6 we had to sit through, by which time it was really hot in there, because this is the days before LED lights. And TV studios got very, very hot. They got so hot that in between the programs, they turn all the lights down. It was so hot in there, I can't tell you. And we were glad to get out of there at the end of it. That was at Television Centre there, all right? Hello to Remy from Central Station. Hello, Remy. Yes, indeed, Remy. We're still doing karaoke every Friday and Saturday. There's a date in October that I'm not there. There's no karaoke on the Halloween weekends. So that's the Friday the 28th and Saturday the 29th in October. But apart from those two, yes, I'm always doing it. And I don't think I'm doing Saturday the 8th because the day after that I'm going to Euro Disney with my niece and her family, so I'll probably take off that Saturday, but you'll have someone else doing it, probably DJ Chris. All right, thank you, Remy, and that's how all that works. Text messages. Vera, where's Vera? I'm not sure if I should or not, Vera. I'm not sure if I should or not tell them how much I've had to spend. Not sure about that. I'll carry on thinking about that before we get to that. Paul in Ashford says we buy the gas for our power stations from world markets, so have to pay those increasing prices. If we were energy sufficient, we could control the costs of the country. Globalisation doesn't work well. It's just people, Paul, people will get very greedy. Someone along the line is very, very greedy. I mean, how much money do you want? It's like the bloke on Amazon. He's horrendously rich. If he bought a rocket to go to the moon and back for the rest of his life, he still wouldn't spend all his money. What is the point of having all that money stuck in the bank like that? Just crazy, isn't it? Evening to Mandy Davenport, just joining us there. So there we are. That's the old funeral story there. And talking of funerals, interesting story in the Daily Mail online. I don't know what you think about there. The future of funerals. The idea of conversing with mourners at your own funeral. So you're having your funeral and you can talk to the mourners. May sound like a plot from the latest episode of Black Mirror, which I think is a comedy thing on Sky. I watched a couple of episodes of that and it didn't do it for me, I'm afraid. But it could become a reality, this is the Daily Mail, thanks to a Los Angeles-based startup which has developed a holographic conversational video experience. Right? Now, I must say, I have seen, now I cannot remember where for the life of me, I have seen graves, right, with little LED screens, and you can push a button, and this obviously someone has recorded something, and it talks to you. But this is one step further. Storyfile creates a digital clone of the subject, right, obviously before they die, using 20 synchronized cameras to record them answering a series of questions. Experts then process the footage, tagging clips and using it to train an artificial intelligence that can provide responses to these questions in natural language. How clever is this? Is this something that you might want to do? The finished product is then uploaded to the Storyfile platform, which can be interacted with after the individual has passed away. Those who attend the funeral are then able to speak with their loved one as the technology creates the individual that has passed away. How weird is that? Sounds like a similar thing that we're going to see at Abba. They're not really there, you see. These are abattoirs, aren't they? Or abattoirs. Abattoirs. Not abattoirs, that's where they go and kill poor little animals, isn't it? The company worked with Star Trek's William Shatner last year to create a hologram of himself that he said will help preserve his memory and legacy for generations to come. Now, you know, if you're a Star Trek fan, is that something you'd like to do? When William Shatner dies, you sort of seek out wherever he's buried or cremated. You come across this grave and you can talk to him. Something that you can't do now while he's alive. People go to see stars' graves, don't they? It's always people going to like Elvis Presley's place, don't they? Funnily enough, one of my friends is there at the moment. I saw a picture of her sitting when they have their sort of selfie done by the grave. I don't know if that's all right or not. I mean, I do the same with my mum's grave every year. I go down for the birthday and things like that, you know. Dr. Smith told The Telegraph, Mum answered questions. One of the first users of the technology was Marina Smith, the mother of Storyfile's CEO, Dr. Stephen Smith, who died in June at the age of 87. Dr. Smith told The Telegraph, Mum answered questions from grieving relatives after they had watched her cremation. The extraordinary thing was that she answered their questions with new details and honesty. People feel emboldened when recording their data. Mourners might get a freer, truer version of their loved one. So I don't know what you think about that. Would you want a sort of video of yourself made as a sort of hologram or something like that? It's a bit odd, really, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, I know I've seen advertised on TikTok. You can upload, excuse me a minute. You can upload pictures of your deceased loved ones to this site, and artificial intelligence does something to these pictures, and then when you load them up on your computer, the kind of eyes move and like, you know, like I don't know. Say I'm dead now, you know, like. And it's a bit like that. I don't know about that. And I could upload pictures of my parents just to see what that looks like. I don't know if I'd like that or be a bit creeped out by that. It's just not... Because it's not really them, is it? You know, it's a computer doing this thing. Anyway. Maureen says we're expecting a bus and tube strike this Friday. It could also be on Saturday. That's right. If so, I won't be able to go to your karaoke. Don't worry, darling. That's it, my love. I'm sorry you're going to miss out there. Could you please check on the internet to confirm for me what's happening? Thank you, Chris. Actually, Vera has already Funnily enough, I got a text from lovely Vera earlier. I hope I replied to that, Vera. Just a minute, love. Did I reply to you, darling? I can't remember replying now. Oh, you did. So, sorry, apologies, Vera. I haven't replied. Ho, Chris, I just got an email to alert me about the bus and tube strike on Friday. So it's on. At the moment, it's on unless it's called off. All right, Maureen? So at the moment, it's on unless it's called off. So, yeah, that might kick us in the teeth a bit for numbers, mightn't it, really? Right. Chat box. Hello to DJ. Hello to Chris, SCTV fan in the house today, who says, you know, after you're gone, Chris, we have years and years of YouTube to watch of you. So when you do leave, you really don't, in a way. Yes, I wish I was there to watch it, to be honest, Chris. I can't think of anything better than watching YouTube videos and listening to radio stations that I've made. Radio shows that I've made. You're luckier than me, in a way, Chris, really, aren't you? Chris is in America. Funnily enough, Chris, we had 4 people turn up from America on Friday night at the karaoke. And they were delightful people, actually, who had been watching the YouTube stream of our karaoke night. This is not the first time this has happened, incidentally. And they turned up and they wanted to meet me. And they also wanted to meet our wonderful karaoke regulars. People like Maureen, George, Roy, Vera, DJ Chris, and people like that. They wanted to meet those people, and indeed they did. How wonderful is that? It's just wonderful that for something like that to happen. And they weren't just here for that. They'd come for a holiday, but as part of their holiday, whereas you might go to, I don't know, Australia, and we'll go and see the Opera House that day, the Sydney Bridge that day, we'll go to the beach that day. They've done the same, go and see the House of Parliament, Big Ben. And this night we're going to can't wait to see Chris Reardon's karaoke with all his little stars. Because they are stars. They are stars. Those people that sing on my karaoke are all stars in their own right. Doesn't mean everyone's a brilliant singer. I'm certainly not a brilliant singer. Huh? But people get to know you. Do you know, I've got such an issue. I think there might be a little hair that needs to be extracted from my nose somewhere. In a minute, if this doesn't stop me, I can feel something rubbing it. I can't get to it, though. There's nothing... Might have to get the tweezers out. I've got one of those things. Zzz, I might try that in a minute if this doesn't get any better. It's really annoying me. And they want to come and see our little stars. I think it's wonderful that to know that like normal people who come into a pub can entertain people on the sort of the other side of the world like that, and they want to come and meet them. Isn't that lovely? And they were such nice people as well, these Americans. Such nice people. Thank you, Chris. He says, see, you're a true celebrity. Oh, dear me. Dan would ask, do any of us know where we are or if we are really alive? Oh, I don't doubt for one moment that you're not alive, Dan. I think we all know that, my love. Have you still got that dog collar on? What? Dan says the hologram thing was done for a Les Dawson show a few years ago. I wouldn't have thought that they had that. I mean, it was coming along at that point. They've got very good at doing that sort of thing, haven't they, Dan? Really? Okay. Let's scroll up quickly there. We said hello to Mandy, I think. There we are. And Stephen Dagenham. Just give that nose a good pick. You'll feel better for it. No, there's nothing. It feels like there's a little hair. I'm going to go and get that thing. Just a minute. Let's just try. I can't bear it. I can feel it rubbing against the inside of my nose. Just a minute. You don't mind, do you? It's not like we're doing a major TV show, is it? It's not like we're presenting the new... Oh, got me up. Cool. Do you ever do that? I've got my blooming jacket cord. So I've got this thing here, which is quite good. Listen, you'll be able to hear it cutting if it cuts. Let's see if that improves it. Thanks very much for bearing with me there, my loves. You can't see Naga Manchetti doing that in the morning, can you? or Susanna Reid. All right, I could see Eamon Holmes doing something like that because he's a bit of a laugh, doesn't he? Eh? All right, so that's that. We're going to stay on the subject of dead people now. I think we've done this story before. This one's in the Metro. A ceremony has been held which seen families dress up the corpses of their dead relatives and even pop lit cigarettes into their mouths. This is odd. The Toraja people of Indonesia's mountainous South Sulawesi region care for their loved ones long after they die. They believe the line between life and death is part of a wider journey into the spiritual world. It can take years for some families to save for lavish funerals, and until that time, bodies can remain inside homes or in humble graves for months. I don't know if I should show you a picture of this. It might frighten you. No, I won't. People still talk and spend quality time with the corpses during this time and even feed them. Now, that's not too dissimilar to what... I mean, I go to my mum and dad's grave and I sit there and I talk to them. But I haven't dug them up, do you know what I mean? I think the cemetery would take a very dim view of anyone doing that. The Toraja fear that if their ancestors' spirits are unhappy, even in death, it will mean a bad rice harvest the following year. As a result, every 3 years, villagers hold the century's own Manini ceremony. It translates to care of the ancestors that takes place at the end of August. The dead in the region are preserved in formalin, which helps prevent them from going through any further decomposing. And it shows pictures of bodies that have been dug up and then lovingly dressed up in outfits, some with a cigarette placed in their mouths. Villagers can then tend to their coffins and repair and replace any broken aspects to the structures. Wow. While the sight of stiff skeletal bodies being doled up to many may seem strange to an outsider, the traditional ceremony allows for Toraja to show respect to their loved ones. Children in the region learn from a very young age to deal with death and to accept it as part of a wider spiritual journey. So, I mean, I'm looking at pictures here of literally dead people who have kind of are being held up by the family around them and all dressed up. It's a bit odd, really, isn't it? But, you know, that's their culture type thing. And when you go to other countries, I think really should be respectful of what they do. You know, if only some people would come here and respect what we do. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, there we are. That's enough dead stories for today, isn't it? It's enough dead stories. Paul in Ashford said it's not going to be a great weekend. Train strike Thursday, tube and bus strike Friday, train strike Saturday. 3 days of pain. Yeah, I'm in it all, ain't I? Because I've got to drive in on Friday and Saturday. Funnily enough, didn't we have a train strike last... Yes, we had a train strike last Saturday, of course. And I had the wedding to go to in Kent. Oh, what's the name of the blooming place now? Maidstone. In Maidstone in Kent. And I looked at how long it would take and I added... What's she speaking? Shut up! Alexa, stop. What's she chatting for? Did you hear her? She starts chatting to me then. Yes, I'd added on another hour to my journey because I thought, oh, you know, don't want to be late for someone's wedding. And at the end, there was no traffic. Weird. I mean, the motorway was averagely busy. It certainly wasn't any busier than it normally is. On the other hand, it didn't take me from Bracknell from the M3. It kind of took me around another way. So there may have been a bit of traffic there, but my sat-nav took me around there. And it didn't take me long to get to it at all. So I went to my mate's wedding. He married his other half, Adam the plumber, as you know, who's appeared here many times. I don't think he's with us tonight. Well, he wouldn't be with us tonight. He's on his honeymoon at the moment. And it was wonderful, really. Got there very, very hot on Saturday. Really hot. There is a video up now, okay, on my unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk page. You should be able to find the video there. Perhaps it's underneath this one when I finish the show, maybe, and you can watch it. It's about 21 minutes. There's no narration. There's no sort of, this is what's happening. It's just pictures of moving pictures of the whole event as it turned out. I was due to get there at 2 o'clock. I got there about 10 past 1 because I built in this extra time, but that's okay. Anyway, so unusually I had the air conditioning on in the car. I usually have all the windows open, but I had the air conditioning on this particular day. And I got down there 1:15. I had shorts and just a t-shirt on, and I had my wedding clothes in the car, which basically consisted of a jacket, a shirt, and a pair of trousers, grey trousers, and a pair of shoes. So I got to the other end, and I turned the motor off, and I opened the door. My God, this wall of heat just hit me. And it was, oh my God, that's hot. And this place was called Kent Life. That was the venue, excuse me. Kent Life it was called. That was the venue. And it's like people can go there and look at animals, and they've got sheep and donkeys and geese. Something else. I'm sure there are other bits and pieces there. There's a little shop where you can buy stuff. And there's like a little carriage that goes up and down this hill, drawn by horses. There's a little area where they do gardening, and little children's area where they can do painting and things like that. Looks wonderful little place, and there were a few families sort of milling around. Big gravel type car park, if you see what I mean, right? So I'm parking there. They roped off an area, wedding guests only. So I parked there, and I thought, my God, it's so hot. I was 1:15. I thought, well, I'll just see where I've got to go. So I didn't change. I closed my car door. And I walked up and I discovered where I walked into this little shop place. Hello, I'm here for the wedding. Oh, yes, hello, sir. Don't worry. I'll be standing on the side there from about 1:30 if you want to come up there. And I said, where is it, please? It's just up that hill there, and it'll be held in the Pink Chapel. Right? Fine, that's great. Okay, thanks very much. So I went back to my car and I put the air conditioner on, and the motor was running. No, I don't do that. Okay, I do not ever do that. Because I don't like to waste things. I hate wasting things. Petrol, water, food, whatever it is. I hate to waste things. However, I had the car running and it was just so hot, and I put this air conditioning on. This cold air is pouring out, which is rather wonderful. Do you know, Toyota keep telling me I need a new... I don't need one. They recommend a new air charge on the air conditioning. But it still comes out cold. Why would you want to do one if it's still cold? And I'm like, well, I don't need it. It's still cold. How much is it? £80 plus VAT. No, I don't want it, mate. 80 quid? 80 quid? I'd do it if it's not working anymore. Talking of car. Oh, I've got to do something. Someone has obviously opened a door and there's blue paint and a bit of a scratch down the side. I thought I'd try this. Or do you... Now, is there anyone who's going to tell me not to try it? It's for red cars, look. T-cut, colour fast, scratch remover. Is this going to work? Will this remove that bit of blue paint? Am I really risking it? $8.99 this was. Bloody Halfords. Oh, don't they have the slowest tills in the world at Halfords? Oh, can I take your email? No. Oh, can I ask again? No, you can't. Not having my email. Go away. Take the money. They're so slow in there. Anyway, back to the wedding. So I sat in the car and I was on TikTok, and it wasn't a very good phone signal there, actually. And I had the radio on in the car till about 20 to 2, and I thought, oh, but I'll get changed now. So I changed into my stuff, the trousers, the shoes, the shirt, put the tie on. I'm sorry, the jacket didn't leave the car. It was just so hot. So hot. I remember wearing like fields here. Okay. So I put that gear on. Turn the car off, and I left the windows open just a tiny little bit because, our cars are just terrible heating up in the sun. Same as caravans. Oh, God, it gets hot in a caravan. That's why I had the aircon put in it about 3 years ago. That was worth every penny, I'm telling you now. So I came out there, and as I got to the little shop, next to the shop, this lady's, hello, she says. I said, hello, you should just go up the side there, or you can wait for the horse and cart. I said, that's all right. So I walked up this hill. God, it's so hot now. And I got up there, and there was a hall on the right-hand side. I thought, oh, it says Village Hall, closed for wedding. I thought, I'll have a look in there. So I went in there, and there was one of the grooms in there, Royston. And he was with his very, very good-looking best man, who sadly had a girlfriend. Not that that's a problem. Right, so I'm in there, and the two female, I think the celebrants, they were performing the wedding ceremony. Okay, non-religious occasion it was. Okay, so I had a little chat to them. Hello, da, 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 da. I said, is there anywhere? There was no air conditioning in this hall, but it was out of the sun. So although it was extremely hot in the hall, it wasn't as bad as sitting outside. There were people sitting outside there in the sun. I thought, you're crazy, with beers and things like that. Nice people. But I stayed in there and I sat down on this wooden chair next to an open window, and there was a little bit of a breeze coming through there. So I sat there for a while. And then someone come in around about 2 o'clock. So we're all going over there now. Oh, okay then. No, actually, I lie. I lie. From there, I just popped in there for a moment. Then I went up to see the little pink chapel, which was a little bit further up. And I went in there. And it was beautiful. It was like something out of Little House on the Prairie. It really was. And you went in there. There's a bit of a crucifix at the top there, and little flowers along by the wooden chairs, but no air conditioning. And the pink chapel was made of tin. I can't tell you how hot it was in there. It was so hot. There was no one in there at this point, and right at the end was this organ. I thought, I wonder if that's on. I got there, it's all broken and dilapidated. It's not even an electric organ. It's got these pedals on it. What happens with those old pipe organs is that they got pedals on. You go pedal like that, right? That creates the wind that goes through the bellows and comes out the pipes, depending on what note you're pressing. But it wasn't working. It's broken. It's all broken. It was just there for show. And I thought, how on earth are we all going to come in here and sit in here for half an hour? Practically impossible. Remember, I've only got a shirt and a tie on and a pair of trousers and shoes. Are they going to be dressed like that? Anyway, so that's when I went back to the hall. I thought, I'll wait in the hall. It's cooler in the hall because that's not made of tin. Went back in the hall. And I realised at this point that Royston, one of the grooms, and his best man, very good looking, are both in full suits, top and tails. They had trousers on. They had shirts on. They had ties on. They had a waistcoat on. They had long jackets, with the long grey towels coming down. And I thought, Christ, how on earth are you able to function in all those clothes in this heat? Anyway, so we stayed in there a bit longer. Then they disappeared, these two. And then the people outside, everyone's going up there now. I thought, okay, well, I'll go up there as well. I waited till the crowd had gone, and I followed them up. And I was taking all little videos with my camera, which you can see, as I say, on my UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk on this YouTube channel, just underneath this show, probably. All right. There's no adverts. I don't think there's any adverts on that one. Got up to the chapel, and they're all waiting outside now, okay? And I thought, shall I go in and get a seat near the front, or shall I wait out here where it's slightly cooler in the shade? I decided to wait outside. I thought, I'll be able to see wherever. Anyway, so people started going in, but I wanted to stay outside and capture my very good friend, the other groom, Adam the plumber, as he came along. And indeed, eventually he did, and I got a little bit of a video with him. And then I went inside. I kind of sat near the back, actually, near the open door. And then the ceremony kind of started, and these bridesmaids came through. And then there was a little boy, Alfie, who's about 6, 7, 8 years old. He was carrying, well, maybe 5, maybe even as young as 5. He had the rings on this cushion. And the rings had been attached to the cushion. Just imagine him doing. And it was his turn to go, and he came in the door at the back, and he's kind of looking at him, what do I do now? And then 2 of the girls came and helped him along. That was lovely. And then they had the ceremony, which was absolutely delightful. Absolutely delightful. And she was talking about love, these 2 female celebrants who were very, very nice and very, very good, all dressed in black. They were beautiful ladies. And I'll be honest with you, I bought in a bottle of water with me because they always say, you know, in hot weather you should have a bottle of water with you. So I had a bottle of water with me, and I sipped that throughout the ceremony, and it really did work. You know, when I felt myself, I'm getting hot again, I had a sip of water, and you could feel that, although it wasn't cold anymore because it had been in my hand for so long, but nevertheless, you can feel the water go straight down, and immediately you feel just a little bit cooler, and it does make a difference having a bottle of water, doesn't it? So the ceremony went on, and one of their friends, I think, come up and did a little bit of a speech about love. And of course, you know, when you first meet someone, there's a very big spark if you meet the right person, and that's one stage of the love, and that's often a little bit physical, okay? Yeah, you know what I mean. But as time goes on, it grows into something else. Now, if you're with someone and you have been with them for many years, you'll know exactly what I mean here. You'll know exactly what I mean. I don't really. Well, I kind of do. Anyway, let me tell you what she was saying. So she's saying, you know, you get that first spark, and in time it grows to something else. She said, and the love is like two trees, separate trees, that start growing together, and the roots became entangled. And then you get to the point where you cannot ever imagine those trees growing anymore on their own. And quite often, as you well know, some people have been together with many, many years, certainly my mother and father, you know, when one tree dies, the other one can't survive on its own, because the roots are so entwined. And I thought that was lovely, what she was saying there. Absolutely lovely thing to say. I don't know if it was from a poem or something like that, but I get that. You may not be married to someone, but there might be someone in your life who you often row with or something like that. And because you've been around for so long, those roots are so entwined that you just... Do you know what I mean? You can't pull out of it anymore. And I thought that was lovely. Anyway, so the wedding went on. They did the rings and that. They did their, you know, I do bits, and they have little bits they talk. And Adam started crying because he was so happy. It just, which of course sets me off because I'm a bit like that. Oh, believe me. Listen, I went up to my mate's house last night. We watched a dinosaur, Jurassic Park, the new Jurassic Park, which is available on Sky, you know, for £16.99. He wanted to watch it, so he paid, so I was happy with that, you know. I thought he was going to say it was £5.99. No, £16.99 to rent for a couple of weeks the new Jurassic Park on Sky. I can't believe it. Anyway, so that was a good film. I started being a bit upset when the blooming dinosaurs were burning. Not even real things. I'm a bit like that, you know. So that went through, and they done the vows and all that business, and then they walked down the middle and everyone's clapped, and they come out and they threw some spaghetti, not spaghetti, they threw confetti at the people, which were like, the confetti wasn't like the confetti that we used to use. You remember using little gold stars? There's none of that anymore. Oh my God, the mess. And this, very bad for the environment, all that old confetti, little gold stars and all that. No, these were dried petals. Dried petals that they had in little bags, and they were throwing them over. That's very nice indeed. Which, again, you can see on the video that I've done. And then from there, we went and did photographs, and we all had a drink. I had one little alcoholic drink, a Bucks Fizz, and I had that. So that would be now about 3:00 in the afternoon, knowing I'd be driving at about 10, and that was the only drink I decided to have. So it was a little glass like that, Bucks Fizz, and then it was lots of glasses of water. So I helped myself to a few of those. This was all provided. Didn't have to buy any of this, very kindly. And then we had to go in then and before dinner cut the cake, because the cake had started to wilt badly. I mean, the cake was in the... oh, by the way, there was no air conditioning at all. Did I tell you that in the chapel? Nothing in the chapel. Gone into the dining area, guess what? No air conditioning in there. Oh, it was hot. It was hot. Anyway, so we went in, actually before the photographs, because they'd gone in and seen the cake. Now, the cake was situated at the end. Again, this is in the video. It's at the end of the dining area, and it had 2 fans on it. The trouble is with fans, right? If it's that hot, the air, all you do is blow hot air at something. Actually, now that I think, and I never thought of it at the time, I could have advised them to put a couple of plates of ice in front of the fans. That would have worked. But nevertheless, and you could see this cake was starting to slightly go into itself. So they wanted to do the cake cutting right at the beginning. So they did that. Cut the cake. Then we went outside and did photos, and then we came back inside, and it was a sit-down meal. Some people had roast dinners. Remember, it must have been 38 degrees, 35, 36, 37 degrees in that hut. Must have been. And we were sweating like pigs in there. That's a little impression of a pig for you. Beautiful animals, incidentally. Oh, they had pigs there as well. They had a great big black hog, which was going. They're lovely, those pigs, aren't they? Now, the boys knew that there was no air conditioning in there, and they'd been in the venue much earlier than everyone else had got there, and they went down to Sainsbury's and bought 4 fans. And as luck would have it, right, there's all these round tables. I suppose there was about 80 people in there altogether, I suppose, really, in this venue. Beautiful venue. All little flowers on the, paper flowers on the rafters. It was a bit like an old scout hut. That's exactly what it was like, an old scout or a social club, something like that, right? And flower arranging and just wonderful, really. And we all sat down, and I had a stuffed butternut squash thing, which I'd never had before. But as vegetarian, you can't expect, can I have this, please? You have to have what's on the menu, that's it. You can't look at the menu and say, I don't really want that. That would be very rude at someone's wedding who's paid an arm and a leg for people to eat. Because I think he paid about £105 per head. It was very, very expensive meal. Very expensive. So I had that. There were roast dinners coming out for other people and various different things. The tomato soup was to die for. Oh, my God, it was delicious. And little Archie happened to be sitting on my table, right? Or our table. And he had this soup, and I'm shoving up this soup, and I had a bread roll, which was nice. And Archie said, I don't like this soup, to his mum. I could hear him saying. Anyway, the waitress come down. He's picked this plate up, and he's going to... I could see this going. And you could see it tipping. You could see the hot tomato soup about to tip, but it didn't. And I thought, thank God for that. I just saw it going. I could. It's like a futuristic thing. Perhaps I am a time traveller. I don't know. So we had that, and then they had the speeches, which were really good. The bloke doing the speeches knew me quite well from years ago. He used to come into the Black Cap, I think, where I worked for many years. And he said, we've got a celebrity in here today and all that. It was quite funny, actually, because after the speeches, when we went out, 3 people come up to me and said, are you famous? Because I don't know. I said, no, I'm not. I just do a little YouTube thing and a bit of internet radio. That's all I do. So they had the speeches, which went very well, I have to say. And then we had our pudding. I had a crumble, I think it was apple and pear or something like that. Absolutely delicious with vanilla ice cream. Very, very nice. And then from there, we went outside for a little while. And then by this time, it's now 6 p.m. Now, I have a sleep in the afternoon. I was really concerned that I was going to peg out in there. But I didn't. And I looked at, oh my God, it's 6 o'clock. Why haven't I fallen asleep yet? I think the only thing I can think of is that there was so much going around all the time. There was so much going on, perhaps to keep you really interested. Whereas if you're out somewhere doing something that you would normally do, you start, I need to go to bed now. It's a bit like that, really. But I wasn't that tired at this point. From there, we then went into the little hall, like the old village hall, which is next to it. Again, very reminiscent of a scout hut. Scout hut had these kind of cross things up there, like metal things across the roof and all that. There was no stage, it was all flat, and a mobile DJ in there. She was playing some records. And again, no air conditioning. But by now, it's about 6 o'clock now, and we did notice a very slight dip in the temperature. Thank God for that. I think we'd also got used to the heat at this point. But unfortunately, by this time, a lot of people had started going. I think it was just the heat, to be honest. They couldn't handle the heat. You know, and you can understand that. I completely understand that. People had started going, so 6 o'clock. So the DJ pipes up. We had this little video thing that Adam had done. And a dance. There was a little bit of dancing going on and a bit of karaoke. I sang a song at the karaoke, and as the time ticked by, people started leaving, and I left at about 9:30. By which time there was just really about 15 people left altogether. But I had a nice chat with Adam and Royston and his cousin. Don't know what his cousin's name is. And the good-looking best man who I tried desperately to chat up, but it didn't work. And his girlfriend. No, not really. And it was a lovely day. Got back in the car at about 9:30, and I'm starting to flake a bit now, you know what I mean? 9:45, and I got back here at about 11 o'clock, 11 p.m. So a really wonderful Saturday wedding, and I must say I did enjoy it. I don't go to many weddings at all. I think I went to one last year in August. That was in Greenwich, wasn't it? And it was a bit similar to that one, actually. It was very similar. But apart from those two weddings, I haven't been to a wedding for years. I think the last wedding I would have gone to would have been my niece, and before that, my nephew, or the other way round. I can't remember which ones were married for. I think Gary was married first, and then Tracy afterwards, wasn't it? They were the last two weddings I went to. Of course, I used to go to weddings all the time when I was mobile DJ. Yeah, I always liked going. I quite enjoyed it, really, actually, doing weddings in various different places. Anything from a scout hut to a 5-star hotel. But when you see what these DJs have got now, their lights and that are like completely different to what we had. And of course, there's no boxes of records. Yeah, it's all on a laptop. And hopefully, most of these DJs do have 2 laptops with them, just in case one goes down. I do that at karaoke, you know. I've always got 2 laptops with me, and they're in. I don't leave one in the car. They come in the venue with me. In fact, the spare laptop that I have got. I do my karaoke on one laptop, and the spare laptop, which can also do karaoke, is actually the laptop that sends out the show on. I use it to broadcast the show, you know, which is quite old now. We've already had a couple of problems with that now. It's starting to wane a little bit. So anyway, there we are. So that was the wedding. Wonderful way. Let's read a couple of your texts coming in there. I just stopped her Amazon device. Sorry, my darling. Vera says, watch the YouTube videos about the teacup before you put that stuff on your car, or better still, take it to your car dealer. Do you know how much money they want to do a scratch on a car? Eh? Hundreds. They come out with all the old... Oh, we're going to have to take the panel off, do they? Bullshit. They certainly do not take the panel off. They take your £800 and then they send it to someone who would be like my nephew round the corner, who fixes it for like 100 quid and then charge you 800 for it. They don't take that panel off. I've been told by the salesman. The salesman told me that. Thank you. Paul and Ashford, me and my fella will get married soon. About time after 26 years. Don't want to rush things. Oh, let me know when. I hope I'll be invited, Paul and Ashford. Can I give you my meal requirements now? Could I start with some... Don't be poncy with the food, right? Don't start putting all poncy food on, because a lot of people don't like it. Just basic standard food. If we could start off, please, with tomato soup. Oh, hang on, what's that noise? Oh, it's my new bill. What? Oh, hang on a minute. Gary Ross has just sent me a tip. Thank you, Gary. Oh, I didn't notice that. Just a minute. Gary Ross has just sent me a little tip tonight. Thank you very much, Gary. It's very, very much appreciated. Thank you, Gary. All right, Gary and Leslie. Thank you, you two. I should have that in front of my ear, shouldn't I, really? Oh, my niece has tried to ring me now. Oh, dear. I keep missing her. She keeps missing me and I keep missing her, unfortunately. Anyway, yes, if I could start off with tomato soup, or perhaps, if you want to push the boat out a bit, bruschetta. Lovely. Or a bit of garlic bread. Lovely. And then for the main meal, you know, perhaps you could just have chips. Chips and various different burgers. Normal burgers, veggie burgers. Don't go mad. Can we have that, please? Or if you want to do vegetarian, how about beans on toast? Nothing wrong with beans on toast. But, you know, a can of beans. Not like, a spoonful of beans. You know what some of these places like, do you? A ladle, 2 ladles full of beans on toast. That'll do for the main meal. And perhaps some nice ice cream or chocolate sponge pudding for pudding. Could you write that down, please, Paul in Ashford? My meal requirements for attending your wedding. Oh dear. But Royston and Adam were the wedding last Saturday. They had a slightly different thing with the wedding, which with the presents, which is great. I know some people, they like, I don't know, they go to John Lewis and they get a list, don't they? And they say, oh, just check the list on John Lewis or whatever, Selfridges or whatever. Or they have a list, presents, toaster, kettle and all this business, small 3-bedroom semi-detached house in Slough, things like that they put on there. But they didn't do that. They asked for donations for their honeymoon. And they had like a little post box. Unfortunately, I hadn't read the back of the invitation which said this until I got there. Of course, I had no cash with me, so I asked him for his bank details the next day and I sent him a little bit of cash, for their honeymoon. But that's quite a good idea, isn't it? And then, of course, maybe they won't spend all the cash and they've got a little bit of money to set themselves up a bit better. I think that's a great idea. Rather than having like a table full of gifts or something like that. It's big, and then you've got all that hassle of bringing it all home. No, you just put a little bit of money in an envelope and post it through their little post box. I think it's a great idea, that. Great idea. Paul in Ashford said it was 33 degrees in Kent on Saturday. I had the mobile aircon on for the first time. Maidstone is only 20 minutes from you. 33, yeah, at least, I would say. I'm sure it was much hotter in that tin shed that we were in. Thank you, Paul. Let's just pop into the chat box and see what you're saying. OE has just sent me a tip as well. Oh, that's 2 tips I've had today. Oh, my God, I'm rolling in money. Thank you very much, OE. OE, £1.99 tip. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. And Gary sent me a £12 tip, Gary and Leslie. Thank you very much for that. It's very, very kind of you. I'm a bit short of the cash at the moment. I'm going to come to that. Just gonna pop in here. Gonna say hello to Claire Hill. Peter says, could you say hello to Claire Hill? So welcome along to the show, Claire. No George isn't there. Remedy is there. Who is Remedy? Hello, welcome to the show, Remedy. Whereabouts are you? Do tell us. Derek Martin, the T-cut should work on the paint. Just be careful not to use too much of it. It could damage the paint. Well, basically, there's blue paint on there from another car. Yeah? So they've obviously reversed out and hit the side of my blooming car. But there is a bit of a scratch as well. But I've got a little paintbrush for that. So I'm thinking, right, get the blue paint off with this very carefully, Then do a bit of red paint where the scratch is, maybe 2 layers, and then rub down the extra bit of red paint with that. What do you reckon? I can't make it any worse, can I? Oh, Paul Adamson. He sent me a tip and all the money's pouring in tonight. Hang on a minute. Where is it? Thank you, Paul. Gosh. I can't remember the last time I had 3 tips. I think we were doing the bingo 2 years ago. Thank you very much. You're very generous tonight. Thank you very much. It helps keep my lights on for another moment as well there. All right. Thank you, Derek. Ray Belasco, good evening to you, Ray. Hello, my very, very good friend Ray. I hope you're well there. Let's have a look. Nice to see Ray. You're famous. Everyone knows the wonderful Chris Reardon. I'm not famous. I'm not, Ray. I mean, a few people know me. I know that. But it's a long time ago. Sort of when I couldn't used to be able to go out on the gay scene without sort of people coming and talking to me. I can do that now. Once you've kind of come out of a lot of it, you soon get forgotten. This is how it is. It's just how it is. But yeah, I still get people who talk to us. Actually, there was 3 people at 4 people actually at the wedding who knew me. One lady, ever so nice she was, I can't remember her name now. She said, "Oh, hello, I just wanted to say hello to you, Chris. I follow you on Facebook." That was quite nice, wasn't it? And there was the man taking the photographer, the man doing the photographer. He knew me from the Black Cap. Apparently, he used to work for one of the gay magazines, and he used to take photos of me when we were doing various events at the Black Cat. He's ever so nice. Hello, Chris. Lovely to see you. I kind of seen him for about 30 years. And Adam's best man as well. You'll see him in the video again. Is a thin bloke, bald-head, glasses. He's ever so nice. He knew me as well. And another man in sort of a black, all-in-one black... it's like I don't know what they're called. You know those Arabian outfits that are they're like dresses? I don't know what they're called. He was in a black one of those. He knew me as well. That's good. So now and again I bump into people that I know. But it's not like I can walk, through a town centre or somewhere. Oh, who's that? It doesn't work like that. That does happen to my brother-in-law and my nephew quite a lot. That does happen to them quite a lot. Another one. Look, another tip from Remedy this time. Thank you very much. My God, it's pouring in today. What's happened? Do you know I've had to spend a load of money? I'll come to that in a minute. Thank you very much. You're all very generous tonight. Thank you very much, you lot. You're very, very kind, all right? Let's just scroll down here and get these... See if I've missed anything out there. Ray says, "When I get wed, I will never forget you. You're very kind, Ray." Actually, Adam did ask if I wanted to do the sort of DJing, but he's a very close friend, and I like to be there with him rather than doing it for him, if you see what I mean. It's very, very different being at a wedding as a customer or doing the DJing. Completely different things. And if he had said, "Look, I really want you to do it," I probably would have done it. But he didn't. He didn't pressure me or anything like that. So I just wanted to be there as a guest, and it was nice, to be fair. Hello to Gareth Loxton. Hello to you, Gareth, who says greetings from the Welsh Valleys. Good evening, Gareth, in the HTV television area. Evening, Gareth. Hello to you. Have you given up on the Saturday karaoke, Chris? No, not at all. Why? Why do you ask that? Have I given up on Saturday? No, every Friday and Saturday. Dan, beans on toast at a wedding. Hello, I prefer cheese on toast. What, you think cheese on toast is higher than beans on toast, do you? You're a strange character, Dan. Where are we? Mick, Chris, put a blob of paint at one end of the scratch and then scrape the paint into the scratch with a bank card. It fills the scratch. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. And on the text, Maureen, if the buses are running on Saturday, I'll see you then. If so, do you want sandwiches? On Saturday, no, because he does us a lovely dinner on Saturdays, Maureen. Thank you very much for offering, though. But if you're not coming Friday, I'll bring something in myself. All right, Maureen. Don't think that you have to do that. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, if you're around and you do it, yeah. But if you're not there, I could always ask for some chips upstairs or something like that. At least it's not so hot now, though, is it? At least it's not so hot now, I'm pleased to say. Okie doke. Wasp. I had a lucky escape the other day at the swimming pool. Right, it's a very, very quick story, this one. Has anything like this happened to you? Okay, so I'm in the swimming pool. I'd done some washing a couple of days before, bought all the washing in and put it away and what have you. Anyway, I pulled these swimming shorts, out of my cupboard in my tall boy, little drawers with all different things, socks, pants, shorts, then T-shirt, lots of T-shirts and things. Anyway, I've got these swimming shorts out of my top of my cupboard, put it in my swimming bag with a towel, change of clothes, shaving stuff and all that business. I got to the swimming pool, opened the locker door, I've gone in, said hello to everyone, opened the locker door, and I got the towel out and I put the shorts down. I've picked up the shorts to put them on. I kid you not, a bloody wasp flew out of them. Out of my shorts. That could have been very painful. A wasp flew out of my swimming shorts that I was about to put on. I could see, and it flew, and they fly straight up because there's no windows in the change room. They fly straight up to the light, don't they? It was buzzing around this blooming thing. Another bloke coming. I said, "Be careful, mate. There's a wasp up there. It's just flown out of my shorts." He looked at me a bit funny when I said that. A lucky escape there, I find. You ever been stung badly? Ever been stung by a wasp? One of my friends was on the Facebook the other day. He's never been stung by a bee or a wasp. A bee once that was on the bottom of my foot because I stood on it. Bees will not sting you. They are not interested. They just want to go about undisturbed, going about their work. And it's dark outside now. It's pitch black out there now. It wasn't like that a few weeks ago, was it? It's really dark outside. Yeah, but bees won't sting you. Me and my mate, we've been to garden places where they have stuff like lavender and all that. And there's tens of thousands of bees. And you can hear them. Zzz, like this drone. And this lavender or roses is covered in bees going about their business. And you can go right up to the flowers and see them working away, prodding away at this, whatever it is they do, pollen and stuff like that. Prodding away, and you're right, literally. So if this is a bee, and you're like this, watching this bee, not interested in you in the slightest. Unless, of course, you hurt it or try to attack it. Then it will sting you. And I stood on a bee once, and it stung me. Quite understandable. Wasps, on the other hand, different thing altogether. They just seem to attack you at will, don't they? Especially if you've got jam or something out, or Coca-Cola. That's a good one. Glass of Coca-Cola. They can't wait to get their little beady blooming eyes into that. Those wasps, horrible things. And I had once. I was cycling back from church actually when I was at the Corpus Christi in Wokingham, which is the one I used to go to. I played the organ there for a while. I was cycling back and a wasp flew almost into my mouth. It flew and it got caught here. Right there, right? Or there. I think I must have had my teeth closed at the time. Because if that had gone down my throat, well, I don't know what would have happened. And stung down there. That can all puff up, can block your airway tube and all that business, can't it? Very dangerous. So, this wasp, and it got caught here and I went as I'm cycling along, but it managed to sting the inside of my lip, which was painful. Not for hours and hours and hours, maybe a couple of hours, and gradually it just went off. So that's where I've been stung before. Could have been much different in that changing room. Oh, what if it had stung my willy? Would have hurt a lot, wouldn't it? Anyone been stung like that? Paul in Ashford said, could have bit and made things swell up huge. Well, some people need that, mate. I certainly don't. Thank you, Paul. Shania, you got stung because you didn't behave yourself. Oh, Shania, please don't start sending me jokes, darling. Please. In future, I should be giving my clothes a blooming good shake before I put those on. Thank you very much. Hello to... Oh, it's Nick Pandolfi. Hello, Nick. Nick is a very famous radio person. More famous even than me. Isn't that even unbelievable? Hello, Nick. Nick was on me sorry, not on me. Sorry, Nick. Nicholas was on a radio station with me years ago. I did this overnight thing because they were just a bit desperate at night. But Nicholas did the breakfast show on there. Who was that awful woman on that station, Nicholas? Claire something. Oh, she was awful. Just a horrible person. What was her name? Don't tell me she was a good friend of yours. I wish I hadn't said that now. I bet you got on with her like a house on fire. Claire something. She was on this radio station with me and you. She was just not a nice person, was it? The station, Liberty Radio, 963 and 972 AM. This is da 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 963 and 972 Liberty. Oh, it's great on there. I used to do 2 till 6:30 AM. This radio station, Nicholas did a breakfast show. I think Toby Anstis did it for a while. He was a nice bloke. I got on really well with him. And David Hamilton. I met David Hamilton there a couple of times. And he made me a cup of tea. David Hamilton. What a lovely man. What a lovely man he was. He did the breakfast show a couple of times, and I was finishing. I always remember how nervous I was. You would be, wouldn't you, Nicholas? David Hamilton of mine. He's up there, isn't he? Up there. And I always remember watching this blooming clock. Oh my God, David Hamilton's. What am I going to say to him? I don't know what to say. I was so worried. But meeting, he was like a megastar to me. You know, when I was in the Scouts at Scout Cub Camp. Cubs, not Scouts. When I was a little cub and then a Scout, we used to listen to him. At Cub Camp, we'd have radios on all over the place, playing Radio 1. David Hamilton was on there, and Dave Lee Travis, and the Radio 1 Roadshow, boom, live from Brighton with Dave Lee Travis. Radio 1, 275 and 285, and stereo VHF, all that business. Well, that's where David Hamilton, he was up there. I was so nervous. And then he came, and then this little bloke come in. I thought, who's that? It's David Hamilton, he's only short. And he came straight in, opened the door when the red light was out. And he said, hello, you must be Chris. Do you want a cup of tea? And he made me a cup of tea. I thought, my God, David Hamilton is making me a cup of tea. Such a nice man. But that woman there, was it Ashford? Did you get on with Claire? Oh, no. I remember once, she was late. And I was 6:30, and so her producer came in, and she said, can you stay on? I said, well, yeah, but my car's downstairs. Now, remember, the car was... This place was in Knightsbridge, okay? Now, in those days, I don't know if they got double red lines there now or what, but in those days, we literally parked outside the studio, which was opposite Harrods. You couldn't do that during the daytime. But of course, at 7 o'clock, the clock ticks over, bang, that becomes a no parking zone. And I'm looking at this clock, and I'm carrying on at 6:30, and I didn't really know what to do, and I was just so nervous about going from nighttime into daytime, because in sort of radio world, nighttime is just nothing to them. It's nothing. And I was on at nighttime. They kind of left you alone. Me and my friend David Rosen, we shared this 2 till 6:30 a.m. slot. And but 6:30, you wanted to be out as quickly as possible. Usually 6:30 come, I hand it over to the next person, which was the early breakfast. But they got rid of the early breakfast eventually, so it went straight to the breakfast person, I think, eventually. And 6:30, well, I'm telling you now, 6:32, I'm in the car pulling off, because you also wanted to be out of London really quickly, because the traffic is starting to come in now, you know. 7 o'clock in the morning, you don't want to be driving into or out of London. Of course, most of it's coming in, but some of it's passing through as well, and you don't want to pick that up. And this clock's ticking away. It's like 10 to 7. And I think she got there at about 10 to 7. Right? And, right, so I was out that door as quick as I can. And I remember I was sitting there. She swished in. And she said, all right, I'll take over now. No thank you, kiss me arse goodbye or anything like that. And I thought, how rude are you? But you don't say anything, because you're the new boy. You're not really a radio person at that point, to be honest. So you don't say anything. You just go. Till you get a YouTube channel, and then you can say what you like. But she was so rude. So rude. Oh, all right, I'll take over now. No word of thanks or anything. And it was that I thought, no. And I knew there was a little bit, I don't want to say the other name, there was a lot of issues between her and someone else. And it was at that point I realised who was the problem, you know, but unnecessary. Anyway, that's just how it is. David Hamilton was 3'2" on a good day. He really was lovely, David Hamilton. I think you're picking up the show a little bit behind everyone, Nick. And when Radar came out, we had stars where others had numbers. It's true. We didn't really have many people listening, I don't think. But they didn't advertise the station at all. Just one of those things. Hello to Jeff Burley. Excuse me. Hello to Jeff Burley. Good evening to you, Jeff, who says, "Hi, Chris, you're looking well. Glad you're coping with the hot weather." Well, it's gone now. It's really cooled down today. We had a bit of a deluge here in Bracknell at around 4 o'clock. Jeff says, "Warmest regards from Jeff and Linda. Lovely to see you." They're the lovely couple who had the caravan next to mine. Do you remember? Some time ago there. Yeah, some time ago. Remedy is your channel to do with spiritual stuff. Okay. Thank you very much. Nick, are they your own teeth? Yes, they are. Look. They won't come out, mate. No one gets teeth that colour, mate. When I go to the dentist, sometimes he said, "Do you want to do, we can do teeth whitening here?" I said, "No, what do I want that for? Don't want to look like bleeding salmon cow. You've got to have sunglasses on, haven't you? When you speak to some people who've had their teeth done." Paul in Ashford, breaking news. Oh, hang on a minute. Breaking news. Have we got any news music? I don't think we have. Any news music here? Oh, hang on. What's this? No, I haven't got any news music there. No news music. Hang on. Do we need news music? Breaking news. Cross-eyed circumciser gets the sack. Which sack? No jokes, please. I can't read that out, Gary Ross. Speaking about our female colleagues at Liberty Radio like that. All right. Okay, gang, let's move on. I can't believe it's 25 to 10. I really can't. 25 to 10 already. Okay. So let's tell you first about my water leak situation. Something has happened. Something has happened since I had the leak repaired. Now, Vera, unless you tell me a reason now that I shouldn't, then I'm going to say it. So be quick. If you're going to text in with a reason, and I'll have a look at that. Okay? Sorry, a little private conversation with me and Vera. Unless there's a reason I shouldn't, do tell me, Vera, okay? Paul in Ashford, have you tried blindfold archery? You don't know what you're missing. Oh, stop it! No more jokes, please. We can't get on with the show, dear. I'm trying to get on. Yes, you know the story of my leak. I've had this leak for a while, and I got people in to repair it who appear to have done the job and left a load of mess. They chucked half a bag of cement in the bushes, half a bag of that black sticky stuff. Is it asphalt in the bushes? And I rang them and complained. I said, if you don't come and pick this up, I'll report you for fly tipping and rubble and all this business. Anyway, so this lad came along. He didn't knock on the door, and I completely understand that. You know, why would you knock on the door of someone who's complained about you? You wouldn't want to talk to him, so I get that. But I picked him up on the security camera, and he come and took the bags away. He left the rubble, and it was at that point I thought, well, you've taken the bags away. I can't be bothered to do any more on this, so let's draw a line under it. I'll remove the rubble, and I put the rubble in my bin, and it's done. That's it. As far as I was concerned, that was it. I rang up the water board. They came and took a meter reading, told me not to worry about the extra water that would use. That would be written off, right? So that's it. Last Saturday, I then went away up to the Luxury Waterside Media Centre in Lincolnshire, otherwise known as my caravan. Okay, so I went up there and spent a week up there and came back. Now, right, I'm going to tell you how much I got charged for that leak to be fixed. I don't know why. I thought, I don't really want to tell them how much because I feel foolish. I feel very foolish. For them to fix it, what happened is that a lad came, took a look at the situation. He said, look, I can start working on this. He said, but to be honest, I think you're better off having another man down here. He said it'd get done twice as quick and it'll probably save you money in the long run. Okay, so I've said okay to this. Now, it's £85 an hour plus VAT. Okay? You bring another one in, and that's another £85 an hour, plus VAT. These two turned up on time. They were okay. They were all right. And they started working on it. And a few hours passed, and this lad said to me, look, he said, we've been here a few hours now. We've dug where we think the leak was, where you said you thought the leak was, because that's the bit that was damp. And it's not there. There's 40 feet in between my house and the meter. That's all my responsibility. That's another story there. That's being looked into now, right? And he said, what I can do is give you a quote, because the fault can be anywhere between here and the meter. I can give you a quote, and then we will work on that quote, and it won't be any more dearer than what you're paying. We've already been here now 4 hours at £200 an hour, basically. And I'm like, what's the quote? And he rang up the office, and they came back with £2,900. And when he said that, and I said, you must be joking. £2,900. I said, look, I'm not rich. I live in an ex-council house. I said, look around you. We're not rich round here. And he said, let me try the office again. And we come back to the office, and he come back. He said, look, I've told them the situation. They've advised me to do it for £2,400. And I'm like, oh, God. And I'm like, I'm upset now, because I thought, I imagined about 800, 5 to 800. And I'm thinking, and I'm saying, look, I said, is that the maximum I'm going to pay? He said, yes. And we will work into the evening if necessary until we find the leak. And I've agreed to it. So I agreed to it. At which point, this blasted company, access.co.uk they're called, are straight on the phone to you, taking the deposit, half the money. They ring up straight away. The good news is, if you think it's good news, the hours that they've done before is immediately wiped out. You're only going to pay that quote. You're not going to pay that quote plus the hours they've already done. Those hours are wiped out. Okay. So I paid the deposit. The boys were, well, I kid you not, in 20 minutes they found the leak. But that's the luck of the draw. They could have been here for hours. I don't know. I'm not a plumber. I don't understand these things. I don't really want to know about these things. I don't like DIY or anything like that, right? So I thought, I was kind of pleased that they'd found the leak. And by now my mate had turned up. All right, so he's there as well. And we heard this little chair go up, and we opened the door, and one of them soaked, because of course they've dug this bit of earth out, and the water is now spraying out. It was pouring out. I mean pouring out. So they turned off the tap, and they started work. Well, we got to go down the shop now and get some bits and pieces. Well, it must have gone about 2 hours. There must have been, and it would, you know, but it doesn't matter. The clock is not ticking up now. They're on a quote, so that's fine. It's not fine because it's so dear. I was a bit peeved that they found this leak within 20 minutes. Did he know it was there? I don't know. How do I know? Not a plumber. So they worked and they fixed it. And they filled it in, and as luck would have it, they finished just before I needed to leave for work. And then again, this bloody company is straight on the phone. Thank you. Can we take the rest of the money now, please? Couldn't wait. Straight on the phone they are. So I paid this money, and that was it. I got in the car, peeved that I'd spent so much, but pleased that it appeared to have been fixed. I didn't go and look at the meter at this point, right? Went to work, come back. Fine. Draw a line. You've paid a lot of money. It's done. And then so a week went by, and then the next week I was due to go up to Lincolnshire. Sorry, it wasn't that week, was it? It was the week after. I think it was, or was it that week? No, it was that week. No, so the next day, I think I've gone up. Yeah, Saturday. So I've come back Saturday morning. Saturday night, I've gone up to Lincolnshire. Fine, that's all well and good. Right? But Saturday morning, I woke up and they'd left rubbish outside, as I told you last time, you know, and that pissed me off. The fact that they'd left rubbish outside. Why haven't you cleared that up? £2,400, and I looked after them, made them tea, went and got cold drinks from the co-op for them. gave them ice creams. I looked after them, and they left all this stuff here. How can you just... It's not even intelligent enough to hide this stuff in another bush. Right outside my front, where I could see it from my window, dumped cement bag and dumped asphalt. How dare you? So I rung up. I have to say the bloke on the phone was particularly blasé about it all. Oh, right, OK, well, we'll get someone to look at that for you. I gave them 3 stars on this Trustpilot thing and told them why. And they replied to that, someone will get back to. Sorry you've experienced this, someone will get back to. Let me tell you, no one has ever rung me from that company other than to take bloody payment for something. So, that night, went up north, come back down again. Come back down on the Wednesday. I think on Thursday my mate was there. And he said, that looks a bit wet on top there. I said, it can't do. I said, what, on top of the tarmac? It was a hot day. And I said, probably the sun melting the top of it because it's just not dry yet. He said, that definitely looks wet. And I touched it and I thought, do you know what? I think it does look wet. I said, I'll go and look at the meter. So I turned off the stopcock in my house. No water can come through now. And I went to the meter and sure enough, it's turning slowly. And I thought, oh no, you're joking. And I went down like that. And I rang them up. I said, look, I said, first of all, thanks for picking up that stuff that you left behind. Let's move on from that. Oh, well, I'm very blasé on the phone. I said, here's the situation. You fixed a leak for me, but I've just been out to the meter and it looks like the meter's still turning around, albeit very slowly. Not like it was before. Before it was going, you could actually hear it. Click, 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 as this thing was going round. All right? This is now going, the little wheel, you can't see the number going, just this little wheel is going like that. Very slowly. So that indicates a leak somewhere. So I've told him, he said, right, okay, well, we can get someone out to you again to check the work that we've done. And all our materials and workmanship is guaranteed for a year. But if we dig it up and it's not us, we're going to have to charge you again at the hourly rate of £85 an hour. I said, you must be joking. It's got to be there. I mean, where would you think that problem was? You know, you've had a leak that was fixed. Bear in mind, I didn't look at the meter when they fixed the leak, so I don't know if it was still turning around or not. And I'm like, well, what do I do? He said, it's entirely up to you, sir. Not helpful in any way, shape or form. I said, okay, we'll send someone round then. Right, I can get someone there tomorrow morning between 8 and 10. Fine. Just to let you know again, sir, it'd be £85 an hour. I said, yes, that's fine. You've already told me that. So the day comes. The same lad came, the first one. He said, I'm going to have to get my mate down again. I said, what, another £85 an hour? If it's full, and he's standing there, he said, I don't see how this can be the problem. He said, we've done this really well. He said, we've double somethinged it. We've used a plastic pipe, we've cut the bit out that's bad, put the other bit in. He said, I honestly don't see how this can be our fault. What do you want me to do? I said, well, I don't know what to do. What would you do? He said, it's up to you, mate. So I said, well, you better do it then. So he starts digging and the other one turns up. So, of course, we're now at £200 an hour again. They've dug down. So far, it looks dry. So I've gone out. I said, that looks dry to me. He said, yeah, it does. I said, well, I don't know what to do now, whether to send you home or not. He said, well, we really need to dig down now to check that there's no problem. He said, but it's up to you. I mean, what do you do? I said, you better dig down. Anyway, time passed. And they dug down to their repair. And then he knocked on the door. He said, do you want to come out and have a look, mate? So I came out and had a look and I saw their repair. There's like this black pipe there. There's some sort of connection there and a bit of plastic pipe there. I think it was a blue colour, maybe. I don't know what colour it was. absolutely bone dry. So there's another leak somewhere. And I'm like, well, I employed you to repair a leak. You've repaired a leak, but it must be another one. Yeah, but we've done the job that we were meant to do. I said, well, what do I do now? He said, well, the leak can be anywhere between here and there. I said, well, it's moving slowly, that thing. How much is that costing me? He said, well, it won't be going... It's nowhere near as bad as it was. He said, but it will only get worse. It won't get better. You need to get it done. And I said to her, just fill in the hole. Fill in a hole. And I'll have to save up a bit of money to have it done again. I can't afford to pay you that money again. So they feel... I'm sorry this is a bit depressing today, isn't it, this programme, but never mind. I'm just telling you my experiences. I said, you just fill it in and that's it. We'll call it a day. Okay, then. Well, we'll have to go down to the shop and get some more stuff because we haven't got any. But, well, yeah, we'll just go down and get it. I can't be blooming bothered now. I can't be bothered. I'm pissed off. Really. And my mate had to come round. I was in pieces at this point on Saturday. Friday, sorry. Anyway, so they filled it in, done a good job of filling it in. You know, you could hear the banging thing going on. I've gone to bed and my mate has kindly stayed in the living room to pay them when they asked for the money. I left him my card and all that. And off they went. How much was that, Ron? I suppose that's another £400. He said, do you want me to tell you? I said, go on. They've charged you another £850. Basically to dig a hole and check on the work that they'd already done and fill the hole back in, because that's where I thought it was. So the leak is not as bad as it was, but there is still a leak. So I've paid all that money now, over £3,000, right? And I still have a problem. Now, the week before, when they fixed the first leak, you ring up the Southeastern Water people straight away, okay, and say, hello, leak's been fixed. Oh, great, Mr. Reardon, thanks very much for letting us know. We'll send someone round to have a look at the meter to check that it's done. So a bloke came round and looked at the meter. Possibly it wasn't turning round at that point, because he would probably have noticed, although I don't know if it's the same person who checks the meter that checks the meter is going round, if you see what I mean. I think a meter reader just reads a meter. If it's going around, that could be here or there, because I might have just flushed the toilet or the washing machine might be on or something like that. So I don't know if he checked whether it was going round or not. I only have the boys said that it wasn't going round when we left it. I only have their say-so for that. I didn't see it myself. On the other hand, would they lie? Friday night, 4 o'clock, time to go home? I don't know. I should have checked the meter when they left. Right, let's have a look at the meter. It's not going round. And if it had gone round, they would have had to stay and fix it. But I don't have that proof now. So I rang up the water board again. Sorry, on the first time I rang them up, they said, don't worry about the leak. That water will be written off and you'll be charged what you normally pay, which is about 130 quid, okay? That's what I pay every 6 months, 130 quid. Okay, so I've had to ring them again a week later and say, look, I think I've still got a leak. She says, you're joking. So I told her the story. When I told her how much I'd paid so far, I heard her take an intake of... She went like that. I heard her, the lady on the phone. I said, there must be something else you can do. I said, this water meter is too far away from my house. And then she said, apparently some other bloke shouted down at her, that's where the water line is. If it's on the other side, it's on the other side. But I have neighbours where it's just there. My neighbour is in the same boat as me. His is on the other side. But then the neighbour on there is right outside his house, the water meter. It's not across there. Anyway, she says, look, she says, let me go and speak to someone. I'll see if I can help you any further. So she come back. What we're going to do is send someone out. We want to check the meter, to check that the meter is a very small possibility that the meter is faulty and going round on its own. But I don't think so. Let that happen. She said, enjoy your weekend, forget about it for now, let that happen, and then if the meter's not faulty, we'll see what else we can do. And that's where it's been left. She said the bloke would come Monday or Tuesday. Well, it's Wednesday and I haven't heard anything yet. But I've got to say, when I've called these people South East Water, they have been extremely helpful and understanding on the phone. So I'm hopeful for this, that they're going to find something else to do. But to spend all that money and still have a problem. I've often found this throughout my life, you know, when there's a problem, it's not like a problem where it can be dealt with like someone else and it's very quick. And even like burst appendix, I remember being in hospital with that. And there were people coming in and flying in, having an appendix out and flying out again. It was all so quick. Whenever I have something goes wrong, it always turns into this great big bloody ordeal. To pay over £3,000 for basically a hole in a pipe, and it's still not working. It's still got a hole, but it's somewhere else now, obviously. But where? So that's where I am with that at the moment. I'm now wait. She said, just wait for us to contact you and don't worry. That's what she said. So I'm going to show you this bill now. So I told you I've paid £133. That's what I've paid. I haven't got the bill here because I've put it on my accounts and put it from my accounts now, so that's gone. But before the bill was adjusted, okay, here is what the water would have cost me had I have had to pay for it. Remember, I've paid £131. That is how much water I've lost. £1,729. So that's, as you can see, that's an enormous amount of water. And they also very kindly give you a little graph. Right, you see that little blue one? The blue one is my last bill, and I used 186 litres. This bill, I have used 3,603 litres of water. It's been pouring out of that leak. Absolutely pouring out. And when I say that's how much water has come out through my meter, 3,603 litres, right? A normal person, if they use a high amount of water, would use 385 litres. I usually use 186. If there were 6 people living in your house and they used a high volume of water, in 6 months they used 835 litres. Remember, I've used 3,603 litres. So that's how bad that leak was. Meanwhile, we now have another leak, not as bad as the other one, but presumably it will just get worse if it's left. So it's got to be done. I took South East Water's advice when the first leak happened, and they said, please consider getting water insurance. Then if you get a problem with a pipe, the insurance deals with it. And if you use the one that they recommend, I think they talk to each other. So you never actually have to pay for it. They talk to the insurance people and it gets all done like that. So I immediately signed up for that 2 weeks ago when I had the first leak. Right, that's it. The thing is, of course, it doesn't kick in for 28 days. So that's not covered yet. Are you surprised how much this has cost me so far? And it just goes on. And I'm not being funny, right? I've got a little bit of savings here. I've had to go into the savings for this. Right? I've got a little bit of savings here. I'm not being funny. How does someone working in a shop or a bar on very limited wages, or indeed on benefits, but perhaps owns their own home, how on earth would they deal with something like this? Because they ain't going to come and fix it for you free of charge, are they? Now, the lady said to me on the phone, she said, we can see that you've gone to great pains to try and repair this, and it hasn't happened yet. Let us leave it with me and I'll see what I can do, and I will now look after this personally for you. She really put my mind at rest, but it's not at rest yet until it's fixed. Now, if this was me, if that other company was me, if I owned access.co.uk, I would have come back round and continued to look for the other leak as an inclusion in that money that I'd paid already. Wouldn't you, if you owned a company? Because it's still leaking. Yeah, you fixed one hole, but the pipe is still leaking. I must admit, if it was down to me at this point, so I've had one leak fixed a few years ago, now I've had a second one, and there's a third one. I'm thinking now, new pipe. Yeah? I'm thinking new pipe. That's where I am with that for now. And I don't know why, I just felt I feel very foolish that I've had to pay all this. Clearly, South East Water is on my side. You know. They say on the old news and all that about having a problem with leaks and things like that. Now, I've been thinking about that as well. You know, they say, well, it's difficult to find leaks. Well, of course it is. Some of you will be on water rates. I'm sure many of you don't have a meter, right? Now, I didn't know about this leak until South East Water told me. Eventually, it became obvious that I had one. But you can have a leak underground and not know about it. And if you've not got a meter, how would you even know that you've got a leak? Because you've got nothing turning around. So I do kind of get what they say there, that leaks can be very difficult to find, especially if you don't know about them in the first place. You've got like a deep underground pipe and the water's pouring out somewhere. It's not always going to come up, is it? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a plumber, but I'm just assuming that. This water can be pouring away. They don't know where it is. It's just going somewhere. Somewhere over the rainbow. Anyway, that's it. Thank you, Vera. Thank you, Vera. Anyway, that's it. I do feel very foolish. But I did not know where to go with that. I really didn't know where to go. So if anyone wants to sort of super chat me, £3,000 now, don't do that. Don't do that. You need it more than me. Anyway, that's the old water leak story, and that is a bill from hell, isn't it? Fortunately, I've not had to pay it. There you go. Water bill, £1,729. That's an awful lot of water. I mean, how much water does a swimming pool hold? So what have I used? 3,603 litres. How much water does a swimming pool hold? How much water in a swimming pool? I mean, of course, there's all different sized swimming pools, isn't there? Pool volume count. How much water does an Olympic-sized swimming pool hold? Oh, blimey, 2,500,000 litres. Wow. Wow. That's a bit more than I lost, isn't it? How much water in an average swimming pool? Let's see. Oh, no, hang on a minute. A standard 15 metres long swimming pool will contain about 1,500 cubic metres of water. Right, and I've used, 3,603. So I've used 10, 20, 2, 3, 2, 4, 6. 1,200 to 1,500. So I have leaked out 3 50-metre long swimming pools worth of water. And you see, what's going through my head now is like, it's not even the money. I'm really funny with wasting things. I can't bear stuff being wasted. What a terrible waste of water. 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools of water have leaked out in my little thin pipe. They're only thin, these pipes. Only about that thick. All right. Let's read some of your messages there. George is there. Hello to George Bond. Evening to George. Are you ringing in? We're not taking phone calls at the moment anymore. No, I've been a little bit disappointed with the calls coming through. We've done phone calls for a year now, and it's just 2 people that call in. I thought it might build up over time, but it didn't. So a bit like the bingo, really. I really thought that would work, the bingo. We spent a lot of money on that bingo, and it just didn't happen, did it? But there you go. It's one of those things. Can't get everything to work all the way. Gary said that's why there's a hosepipe ban. It's Chris's fault. Probably yes, Gary. 3 swimming pools full of water have leaked out of my pipe. I just think that's terrible. Terrible waste. But it's not like I did it purposely, is it? You know, I haven't had the sprinkler on the garden or anything. It's all dead. Although I'm hoping we might get a bit of green in the grass tomorrow, since we've had that deluge of rain. My water butts will now be full up. Oh, talking of water butts, I noticed there's a leak on that. I'm having terrible trouble with my waterworks at the moment, dear. I'll have to have a prostate examination. They can be quite fun, can't they? Stu says, don't feel foolish, Chris. That could happen to any of us. Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I did ring up my very good friend who got married last week. I told you about earlier, Adam the plumber. And I told him what I'd paid the first time. He doesn't know the rest of the story. And I'll tell you why he doesn't know the rest of the story. Because he was getting married. You know, I didn't, and he would worry about something like that. And I thought, no, you've got no right to worry him. Not when he's getting married. So I haven't told him the rest of the story yet. Right. But when I said to him, I said, Chris, he said, you've paid $2,400 the first time. Oh, that's all he knows about. £2,400 for the repair. As far as he's concerned, it's all fixed, you see. And he said, I'll be honest with you, you haven't quite been ripped off, but you've paid right at the high end of what I would expect you to pay. So, I mean, you know, and he would know what he was talking about, wouldn't he? Weird City's there. Hope you're not on a meter. We are, Weird City. You've obviously only joined us there at the end of the show there. You'll have to watch back and get the rest of the story, Weird City. Stu says might be worth asking citizen advice if they should still have to fix the leak which wasn't fixed to the property. Well, the pipe, you're responsible. From the meter, you're responsible for that pipe. But it comes all the way under that. So that's what we're... I'm hoping that South East Water is going to come back with something like that there. All right. Paul in Ashford says it's about a large hot tub. What, 3,603 litres? I thought, no, it's more gone out there. It'll be going out there for weeks, I would have said. Thank you, Paul. I would have been happy to come and dig that trench for you myself. Would just be a bit of grafting for a few hours. Oh, it's quite deep. It's about... It's quite deep where the water pipe is. Apparently, they have to be that deep, otherwise they freeze up. My niece, they've got a new house. When they first got married, they got a house in Woodall Spa, and their water pipe kept freezing because it it didn't come straight into the house. I think I'm right in thinking this. It come up the side of the house and went in through a hole in the wall. Well, the thing kept blooming freezing in the winter. And they come out and lagged it and tried all sorts of things. But my water comes under the house and then up through the floor, you see. I mean, if it goes there, God knows how they fix that. Vera says, build your own swimming pool. Build your own swimming pool. You are funny. Thank you. All righty. Thank you very much, gang. We're going to wrap up there, my darlings. Time is ticking away, and I've got to go and make another cottage pie for tomorrow's dinner. I've been doing a bit of cooking. I'm starting doing a little bit more cooking at night. Hang on, let me turn my aircon off. Getting a bit chilly in here now, actually. I've been making... Has it gone off? Corn cottage pie, which is basically mince pie. You substitute the mince for corn mince. And frying onions, mixed veg, vegetarian little pots. You know those little pots? You mix water with them. Vegetable stock, that's it. Vegetable stock, Worcestershire sauce, bit of soya sauce, potatoes and mashed up parsnips in the oven. And I started making cottage. But actually, I could have that tonight. I'll have that tonight. I'll do a great big dish of this thing, and that's 3 meals there, and that's what we'll have tomorrow afternoon. We had that yesterday. Oh, it was delicious. I do like I think, you know, often I say to you, I get bored at night, and I do. If I'm not working, I get terribly bored at night. It's unusual for me to sit down and watch a film. That being said, we've watched 2 films recently. One last night, the Jurassic Park one, which is really good. It's on Sky, only available to rent, $16.99. Very pricey, dear. Cheaper to go to the cinema. I only spend £10.99 when I go to the cinema. Anyway, but he was happy to pay that, so he paid that, and we watched that film last night. And today we watched this like science fiction thing, which it's on Netflix. I can't let me remember what it's called now. This afternoon, it was a 2-hour film, and Nicolas Cage was in it, and it's about this little girl years ago. They make this time. Anyone know what this is called, right? So they make that they have to draw pictures, but this little girl in this classroom, I think 1957 or something like that, she starts writing all these numbers down. All these numbers, right? Loads of numbers. Teacher comes around and says, "Oh, you were going to draw a picture." Never mind. She collects it out, and they make a time capsule, and they put all these pictures and her numbers in this time capsule, and they sink it. And then years later, they dig it up, and something happens, and the numbers. This Nicolas Cage's son gets the bit of paper with the numbers on. And Nicolas Cage, what's this? You're supposed to have a picture, and he takes it away. Anyway, later on he looks at this thing and thinks, what do all these numbers mean? Then he starts typing stuff into his computer, and they realise they were all dates. And all these dates, some terrible tragedy has happened and people died. And he said, oh my God. And then he can see future dates that things are going to happen. It's a good film. Anyone know what that film is called at all? Anyone know what that film is called? Martin and Sharon done sausage rolls earlier. No, dead animal rolls they're called, Gary Ross. I think you find dead animal rolls, darling. It's like there are no chicken sandwiches. They are dead animal sandwiches. Dead animal sandwiches. My mate goes mad because he likes a bit of chicken. He said, well, please don't call it that. I said, well, what is it then? He said, it's a chicken sandwich. No, it's not. It's dead animal. You call it chicken, I call it dead animal. He hates it. It's not a real sausage roll, darling. It's a dead animal roll. Always remember that. When you chomp into your bit of steak, you're eating a dead animal. I mean, what sick person... I nearly swore then. I nearly swore. What sick does that? Oh, dear. Stu's getting confused with the Blue Peter time capsule. Oh, that all went wrong, didn't it? I remember them burying that. They buried that, didn't they? And then they dug it up in 2000 when it had all fallen apart. All liquid had got in it and all this brown mess come out. Didn't they open something like that recently on one of the... This Morning or something like that with Hollywood Booby and Philip I'm Not Gay Schofield. No one knows what that film is, do they? No. I was trying to find out how you do your history on Netflix, but I haven't discovered how to do that, unfortunately. Anyway, time to go. Thanks ever so much for joining us on the show. I really appreciate you've sent me a few tips tonight. So thank you very much to Gary and his wife, Leslie, there. Thank you to OE and Remedy, Paul Adamson. I've had two tips from OE. It's very, very generous of you. Is it called Knowing? Hang on, let's have a look. Could be. Let's see if I can find a fit picture of it. Yeah, that's the one. It's called Knowing. Made in. Thank you very much to who was that? Who said that there? Weird City. The film is called Knowing. It's on Netflix. All right, so if you've got Netflix, you can watch this. The film's called Knowing. Science fiction film. Very good. 2 hours long. It'll have you in the first couple of minutes as well. All right, so that's a good film to watch because I find quite often on Netflix I start watching a film and I can't follow it or I just don't get into it. Oh, the problem is when you've got your mobile phone next to you and you keep picking the damn thing up. Or maybe I've got a message. You know, maybe I've got a message. And you keep picking it up and then you put it down and you think, oh, what's happened here? And then you lose the place. There's the film I'm watching at the moment, actually, which I'll probably watch the end of tonight when I've finished doing my cooking. Let me see if I can find what I'm watching at the moment. It's a spy film. Oh, and me and my friend have watched The English Game, which is great. It's about how football started. And we're not into football, but we really enjoyed that, The English Game. That's a TV series on Netflix. I'm just trying to find... Where's the... Oh, Black Summer. That looks good. Let me write that down. Is that science fiction? Anyone seen Black Summer? Let me write that down there. Trending now. Top 10 films. Continue watching. Here we are. We're watching Keep Breathing. That's a good series. Here it is. The Good Shepherd, which is a spy film. I'm about an hour and 10 minutes into that at the moment, and I must admit I'm having a little bit of trouble following that. All right. Thank you, Vera. It's called Knowing. All right. Shania is thanking me for the show today. Thank you, Shania. That's all right, my love. Say hello to your dad for me as well, my darling. All right. It's called Knowing. There's no music. What do you mean there's no music? What are you going on about now? We don't play music on this show. What is he going on about? Anyway, I'm going to go now, boys and girls. Are you around tomorrow morning? I do this little radio show, reachonair.com. There it is. It's on tomorrow morning between 9 and 10 o'clock. We do have a lot of fun on that programme. I really enjoy doing that every morning. I've been coming up to 2 years. I've been doing that now. Can you believe that? 2 years, there we are. And I'll be on there tomorrow morning between 9 and 10 o'clock. Gary Ross says, I've started watching a series on BBC iPlayer called Mum. It's brilliant. Okay, let me write that down. Mum on iPlayer. Mum on iPlayer. Thanks very much. All right, I appreciate your company this evening. I hope you've enjoyed our little show and you've all had a good chat to each other. Another show for you next Wednesday at 8 o'clock, all right, on this channel. Just have a look below this show. I think that's where you'll find the wedding of Adam and Royston, which took place at that very hot day in Kent on Saturday. That's just below this, all right? Enjoy the rest of your evening. And if you're around for the radio show, I'll see you tomorrow morning just after 9. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye now.